How's it going, everybody? In today's video, we're tackling our starting defense for Crucible Season 15. I'll also go over the offensive tools I have given this. But let's start with the defensive stuff. So for combat support, we had a lot of experience with this room in the Ultimate 16 tournament, and the Phoenix Force team was incredibly annoying here. Them stopping the enemy from being able to apply trauma to you made a lot of things trickier, especially with endgame Thanos. If he can't gain trauma stun, then when his passive happens, he ends up clearing everything, and then he does this like devastating turn because he would have had vulnerables at that point. This team is really tricky because it does two things. It invites the enemy to try and get ahead of you by bringing in anti-speed bar and trying to finesse their way through it. And it also invites the enemy to try and let you get the first turns to load them up with vulnerables and see if they can just blow you up. And there's no good solution because of the revive situation with the Phoenix Force, and because of the turn meter rewinds by Skrull, and of course that endgame Thanos passive. So I did find that this team was incredibly frustrating to face off against. And so I'm going to throw it up, and if I'm being real, the overpowered certainly helps. Having overpowered on the Omega Red Phoenix Force and the Thanos here is kind of crazy. And funnily enough, if they do come in here with Immortals, and Immortals can win this, but they got to finesse it really well. I've had a Gear Tier 20 Gladiator solo my Immortals team because of Overpowered. So keep your eyes out for that happening. We'll see how that room goes. I think that's going to be an evolving room as the season goes on. Stage number 2, on turn, because I should read stage number 1. So stage number 1, basically, if you forget, guys, on hit, extra vulnerables will happen no matter what the ISO is. When you are doing an attack, the amount of ISOs that character who is attacking has on their head will increase their damage exponentially. That does not apply to the endgame Thanos passive, but his special and his ultimate, which is, or his basic even, if it's Immortals, will just straight up one-shot somebody. Alright, stage 2. On offense defense, on turn, if character has taunt, gain offense up. On turn, apply assist now to all allies with offense up. So, our Night Stalkers here with Scientist Supreme. Again, I'm leaning into overpowered a little bit. Maybe I'm doing that a bit too much this season, but we'll see. The whole idea here is that our Scientist Supreme is going to put slow and offense down on our own team. Blade is going to flip that. We take out the Moon Knight, so it's more likely that Blade and Oath get the flip. Man-Thing, I believe, does have immunity on spawn, so he's not a contender. So it's literally just going to be one of these three, or sorry, two of these three are going to get chosen by the Blade passive, and then really bad things can happen. Now, Vigilante might actually struggle here, especially if they put like a Gear Tier 19 Elektra beside their Daredevil Modern, and Blade kills her right away, nullifying their whole, like, I need my full team aspect the Vigilante has. But I do think Vigilante could probably get through this otherwise. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But this will give you the assist feature, right, without having to give up your Guardian. The reason I don't want to give up my Guardian, who applies assist now to all allies, is whatever they put in here, I'd like to have a solution where I can go into there with Guardian and see what happens. So that's what I'm going with here. I am open to taking this team off and potentially keeping this as an offensive option for Stage 2 as well. We'll have to see how that goes. Stage number 3, Negative Energy. Special abilities cost 4 less, and on successful crit hit, reduce the target's ultimate ability energy by 1. So I'm actually going to use a Kohori team here. Kohori will be able to special, like, consistently here. So she opens up with a special. If they have Safeguard, huge damage. If they don't have special, if they don't have buffs, Kohori will put Trauma, offense down, heal block, a bunch of nasty stuff on them, right? I'm putting Black Knight in here to try and dissuade a mirror match with Kohori. I would love to dissuade a mirror match with Kohori to see how that goes. And the reason I'm doing this is because I think a lot of people are going to be loading this room up with Captain Britain's or with Starjammer characters. Like, I think they're going to be loading this up with anti-speed bar, and this is going to be where a lot of people put their mega room. So I'm actually going to move my mega room somewhere else, stage 4, and see how my results go there. Again, this could be an option where I decide that maybe I want to pull this off defense. It's not doing well enough. It's simply getting beat by God knows what, right? But I do have the anti-immortal look here as well with the Emma and the Omega Sentinel. Omega Sentinel would go first against Immortals. She would do her ultimate. She is a raider, so she would end up taking away a lot of the ability energy, the ultimate ability energy from the enemy team, which isn't that big a deal, but it would certainly help. It would certainly help. Could be fun. And then I have Miss Roma Classic here because what the hell else am I going to put there? I don't want to put Loki there. I don't want to commit too much to that. I guess I could put Loki there, but then the team lacks energy damage. Whatever. It is what it is. I also think this team could probably be beat by a Kang Cabal Apocalypse. I do. Her using her special would be absolutely devastating to the Cabal members, but if it's not a Gear Tier 20 Kohori, I don't think it'll kill the Cabal, especially if Apocalypse is there. But we'll have to wait and see. Stage 4. So this is where I'm putting my Mega Team, but in reality, I don't have Professor X, so I don't really have a Mega Team. So this room, do damage that reduces maximum health to target by the same amount, increase max health and damage by 50%. I'm going to throw the old faithful team in here. We got a pre-taunt, we got Captain Britain, Emma Frost X-Men, so this is no speed bar, this is no speed stat. We have Mephisto, and we have a Shadow King. These two are geared to 20. That's probably going to be the majority of the damage here. So Mephisto, when he doesn't have that last season where it was stage 4, it was also stage 4, and he would get ultimate ability energy. He'd be able to ult turn 1. That's not going to happen here, so this immediately loses a lot of its power, right? If someone comes in with a null team here, there is absolutely a way to get through this. Speed up. Speed up on spawn with null. There is a variation of a team that will be able to get through this. If you do have null, Mephisto is, first of all, he's not getting offense up, and he's not doing his ultimate abilities, right? So that's not calling in those devastating Shadow King pings right away. So there is a way to beat this team. I'm not going to share it just yet. If I had Professor X, I'm probably putting Professor X in here over the Captain Britain. I may be putting Null in on over Shadow King. I may be putting Black Knight back here, and I'd probably move this to stage 3. I think that is probably where the mega teams that have Professor X will eventually go, because there will be an element of getting your cooldown screwed up here. If you come in against Professor X, because the special abilities cost 4 less, Professor X will potentially, if you don't do the burns like really fast, he could regain his special. If he regains his special in his second attack and he cleanses the exhaust, you're screwed, right? Especially if he cleanses that exhaust and Mephisto is still beside him, so that power still happens. Now, if you do face Professor X in stage 3, just know the way to get around that is on the first attack, you let the Professor X do 2 attacks. On the second attack, you let Professor X do 0 attacks. Absolutely 0 attacks. So you go in there with somebody who has a speed stat higher than Professor X, who's not going to get one shot. The team is not getting one shot by Mephisto, and then you end it. And then you can go in there with a Immortals after that fact, unless there's a charge of Odin. They could also put Odin in instead of Null, and it gets really messy there. But then there's a Mephisto option. There's a whole bunch of things that we can do, but we can't cover that all in this video. We'll see it in the gameplay content. Before the Thunder. On offense defense, Thunderbolt characters, when this character's attack, generate 1 ability energy, gain 100% crit chance, and 300% focus. This is also where I'm going to be bringing up the global rule. So, Omens of Danger, on offense defense, Harbinger characters, on successful hit, its primary target has trauma, perform an ISO attack against that target. Our Harbinger teams, we know, are going to be Vigilante, Thunderbolts, and the upcoming Accursed team, which I haven't covered yet because I'm not sure what the team is going to be. There's talk of it being Malekith the Accursed, which, I mean, that just makes sense. That's his freaking name. But we'll have to wait and see if that's actually going to be what it is. In this room, I'm just throwing Thunderbolts. I don't have Victoria Hand or Hyperion unlocked yet. I cored for Songbird. I plan on coring for Hyperion later today. Who knows if I'll actually get it. I only have 5,000 cores. But yeah, I'm just going to throw the Thunderbolts team in here. I'm not going to overthink it. We always have these rooms that are just kind of dead rooms. This is probably a dead room, right? And if I throw like the Retaliation team in here or something like that, and somebody has their Thunderbolts on offense, it's going to be a super fast clear. So I figure we throw the Thunderbolts in here. We kind of force the mirror match if that's what they're doing, or we force them to come in here with a speed stat or a speed up team, because I do believe they lose speed bar against the full Thunderbolts. So that'll be the eventual direction I go. I just want to let you guys know I am avoiding putting Gear Tier 20 on Songbird and on Taskmaster even after I finish Professor X event, because I don't want to have them Gear Tier 20 for the next pocket dimension or whatever the heck is going to happen for Thunderbolts, because I want to show how you can do that free to play. These notes 3 stars, blah blah blah. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm salty that I can't upgrade my characters with the gear I have for content. For the content! Anyway, this team is going to get walked over, but I have some speed up characters to try and maybe make them overthink things, maybe use a Superior 6, because that could help me in stage 6. Dorky's Broken Headset. On turn end, remove Safeguard and Trauma from all characters. On successful attack, copy and clear all positive effects. I'm just throwing Liberty in there. Liberty is nothing special. They're not. I don't want to confuse anything here. I just have them at Gear Tier 20. They could probably be used on offense in stage 1, letting the enemy kind of load up Captain Sam or even Patriot once he gets his red stars filled in, and then he would just pop off on people. Like, Liberty could be really good on offense, like really, really good. But that's not what we're talking about. Okay, so stage number 6. The reason I'm going to throw them here is because I'd love to bait out either the Immortal use over here or even the superior 6Us here, and then we'll see what they're going to do against our speed up teams, our anti-immortal teams. We'll see what they end up doing there. It could be interesting. I don't think this holds whatsoever. I also just don't think this room is super interesting. The unsuccessful attack, copy and clear all positive effects, like, I just don't think it's that interesting. I don't think this is the room that's going to make or break your Crucible experience. And that's kind of what I wanted from the room rule. After last season, the stage 6, the speed stuff, I think it was just too much for a lot of players. And so I think a very relaxed, very understandable rule is in order. So guys, that is my defense to start off. Once I get Professor X, I will explode these two teams and just make one good Professor X team that I know is going to pull one, if not two victories. And then it's going to be a very, very offensive heavy season, in my opinion. It'll come down to how people learn to finesse stage 1, how people attack into Professor X's, and we go from there. At least at the Grandmasters. For people that don't have Professor X, if you face a Professor X, take the Crucible off. Just do what you got to do to get the clear, to get your intel credits, and go touch grass. That's the way to do it. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, whoops, I literally uploaded that video and I forgot to put in the offensive part. All right, guys, this is going to be my offensive roster that I'm going to have left over. So this top team, this is not a team. This is just plug and play characters I'm going to be putting in as needed. Obviously, if I find some big teams, Odin's going to go somewhere with something. He's going to help me get through that. Same thing with Old Man Logan. No, we'll follow any sort of Mephisto around the field. And then we'll have Apocalypse. A lot of people ask me about Quasar. At 3 stars, I don't think Quasar has a spot in the CC meta just yet. When he gets those red stars with his insane stats, that might change. That might change. We'll have to wait and see. Besides that, I have my Immortal X-Men, of course. They're only usable in offense. Starjammers are kind of going to be my... Well, you don't have Captain Britain and Emma on this team? Okay, well, I can use Starjammers here and get it done. For the stage 1 that I showed you, I could use Starjammers there. I know how to finesse that matchup, and I can get through it because I have some of these Gear Tier 20 characters, and I'll probably have a couple more in like 2 or 3 weeks once I get Professor X done. Superior 6 with Mysterio and Vulture. This is, and it could be Kraven instead of Slayer here, depending on what your needs are. This is going to be like a last resort sort of team. It could be a cleanup team. It could be that Thunderbolts room. If they have a speed up team in there, it might just be Thunderbolts in that. Vigilante. I think Vigilante are actually going to have a really good position in this current season. It could be to take on Night Stalkers wherever they go. It could be in stage 1, depending on what your opponent puts in there. If they put a Mephisto team in stage 1, Vigilante has a really good shot, the higher your Silver Sable gets, to just being able to one-shot the entire enemy team. So I really do like Vigilante on offense for this. We have the free-to-play Illuminati. Obviously, we don't have Captain Britain, so I leave this spot blank. This could be where my Odin goes. It could be where my Old Man Logan goes, right? So lots of different characters can get plugged in here. Could be Apocalypse, whatever we need. And same thing for the Cabal Kang. It's going to be a plug-and-play character is going to round that team out. Maybe I'll need a pre-taunt. Maybe I'll need the extra damage. Maybe I'll need somebody that's going to help them go a little bit faster. That could be Null paired with Gore. We can pull Gore up here, and away we go. This team is like an anti-retaliation team or just another cleanup team. This is, again, it's kind of just like plug-and-play characters that I have a couple in the Gear Tier 20 from the Professor X hunt that push comes to shove if there's just an awful team on defense. They can come in and they can help me out in a big way. Also, depending on how that stage 6 works, if we're stripping buffs off of every enemy we hit, not just a primary target, that could change things. So let's say I go into stage 6 and they have a Liberty there. What if Gore Ultimate strips all the buffs off of everybody, so they immediately lose that speed up? Or same thing with Void. I guess Void and I would go first. He would immediately strip it, right? Okay, well, now things are different. Now I don't have to worry about the Liberty team at all. So we also have to see how some of these stages are going to play out before we, like, finalize any sort of recommendations. But I'm excited. I'm excited for this first week of Crucible. Let me know how you guys are feeling. Did you like this defense? Do you like these offensive options? Do you feel I may be a little bit too defensive heavy? Or maybe too offensive heavy? Let me know in the comments below. But for now, guys, have yourselves a wonderful day. Stay happy, healthy. Have yourselves a wonderful day. I said it twice, so that means you have to do it now. Goodbye. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.